you doing, YouTube? Matt Massa Beer Reviews, back with new brewery time in the form of Odd Bird Brewing. This be their The Wick, which would be their smoked Helles lager, coming in at 4.7%. This is my first foray into this brewery, well, review-wise. I heard about these guys not too long ago. They're not super far away from me, about an hour, but not like in distance an hour. They're like, there's no like direct route for me. I either have to go directly around on highways to get to them, or I could do this straight shot from where I live. That's all these kind of back roads. I kind of needed a little bit of drive time for myself today. And I just wanted to take a trip. I just wanted to kind of clear my head. You know what I mean? I have my son's party tomorrow. I've been doing a lot of prep for that, so I just wanted to kind of relax. And I was like, screw it, I'm going. Actually, I was going to go last week, but I ended up getting tied up. So I was like, I'm going. And just took this nice blasting music, hanging out, having a good time by myself. Kind of leisurely drive down to here. And it was worth it. Let's put it that way. I walk up to the brewery, very small brewery, like 3 parking spots, but they could fit a decent amount of people, you know, if COVID wasn't a thing. And I really did dig the spot, you know. And I walk up, and there's somebody ordering. Look at that pour, man. I'm so good at pours, aren't I? Somebody's ordering. I'm looking around, and I see the board. The first thing that pops up on the board, first thing I see, is a 4.5% hand-pulled cask stout. Sold. I knew they kind of that's what they did. They kind of delved into these kind of more drinkable beers. I think the biggest beer they had was like an 8% double IPA, but even there they had an IPA with 6%, and everything else is kind of like lager, goza, stuff like that. You know, ESBs, things of that sort. So, you know, I ripped the cask. You have to rip the cask the first time you're there. And I had a couple beers. I did have this there, so full disclosure, and I really enjoyed what I had. So had to bring back and review some. I actually brought back a bunch, but I'm going to share them with friends tomorrow at Micah's party. Crowler-wise, I dig it. I'm kind of pissed at myself I didn't get a shirt while I was there. You know, I'm a shirt junkie, and it just kind of made sense. And I saw them wearing them behind the bar, and I was like, buy one of those. And I didn't, because I'm a dummy. Anyway, so 4.7% smoked Helles lager. Yeah, looks all the part of a Helles. You know, rich, fluffy, creamy head to it. Soft little carbonated, kind of straw-like kind of body to it. So off to a decent start here. Let's get nose. Yeah, bologna smoke, baby. Bologna smoke. It reminds me of when I used to live in a town called Plymouth. While I lived right next to a town called Plymouth in PA. Let's put it this way. They have pierogi and kielbasi festivals in this place. So, you know, a couple times a year, just the town smelled like smoked beer because it was smoked cured meats and just Polish delicacies everywhere. It's kind of what I get in here is this nice, vibrant, but not overpowering, like over the top. I think if somebody's not a huge smoke fan, they might still get down with this beer. So smoke dominates. There's like a grainy earthiness to the way the malt bill comes off, and that's pretty much it. I mean, the smoke in general is a very, even when it's not super heavy like this beer, it's a very, very aggressive note. So it tends to, especially in their lower ABV beers, kind of mask a lot of the other bits and pieces going on in the beer. Nothing wrong with that. So it's a Helles. A little Pilsner malt, maybe a little hoppiness here and there. You're not expecting much to begin with. Let's actually dive in. Cheers. That's delicious. And here's the thing about it. I think it's a little bit more robust, a little bit more smokier than the one that I had at the brewery. Yeah, it just comes off a little bit more aggressive on the smoke side of things. It's still not an aggressive smoke, but just a little bit more meaningful, a little bit more kind of oomph to it. I'm curious to see what, or if I ever find out, who knows, what kind of hops and stuff they use like this, because I get this little soft little lemon thing in here. I don't know if it's a yeast base. I don't know if it's the beer's a little bit that way, or if it's just a hop addition, but I actually really enjoy that. For me, when I do, you know, smoked meats and stuff like that, if I'm eating them, the accompaniment of a little bit of lemon is definitely appreciated. I don't know if it's purposeful, but I like it. It pulls off that cool trick of having a soft, creamy mouthfeel, but finishing clean like a lager. I like that. I assume that's the malt base, not necessarily the smoke, but the smoky maltiness is kind of the malt they're using has this little bit of density to it, but the lager portion of the show lets the beer itself finish clean. There is a bittering to it, nothing over the top, but something that's, you need it there to kind of hold the whole beer together, because it is relatively bold malt wise. That smoke, like I said, is not gigantic, but it's definitely the star of the show, as it should be in a smoked Helles like this. A little bit bigger than what I remember at the brewery. That's, you know what the best part about this is? I love it. I think it's fantastic. I mean, it's no shit Sherlock stuff. I was gonna, I already had it and I really enjoyed it. I actually like that perceptionally just slightly dialed up version of smoke, even a little bit better than the one I had at the brewery. This is session beer, man. Session smoke is very much like hard to find, relatively. I mean, your Schlenkler, Ellis, stuff like that, but this is just a session smoke, which is a very, very cool thing to get from a relatively local brewery to me. Like I said, it's an hour drive, but they're like 30 miles away. They're not that far. I dig this. I really don't want to compare it to Schlenkler, because the Schlenkler Helles, they're like, it's not smoked malt, it's all coming from the yeast, yada yada yada. This definitely has a little bit more chutzpah to it, but not a crazy amount. And it's honestly one of the better low SRM, lighter, lower ABV kind of smoke beers I've had. Period. I mean, that classification, it's in and of itself is quite small. How many sub 5% smoked Helleses have I had this year? 4, but it's probably the best of the bunch, to be perfectly honest with you. And the only thing that really is the most curious thing about this beer, and I got it in both the draft and I get it in here, is this slight little lemon characteristic. I want to hope and I want to believe that is purposeful. That is there because that is what the beer is supposed to exhibit. I think it adds a cool little touch to the beer. But I could also see it just being a byproduct of making a beer that might have gone a little bit into Berliner land. You know what I mean? Just a touch of kettle sour, just minutely adding a little bit of acidity to it. Well, whether it's purposeful or not, I dig it, and I think it adds a nice kind of element to the beer, and just kind of complements that smoke level of the beer, and just from the sweet malt side of things, that little bit of bittering to kind of tie everything together, and have that kind of little lemon thing kind of play off that smoke. It's very, very fun beer. I'm really curious to see what my boys think of this. I walked up and, like I said, the board that was at the brewery was like ESB and cast out, all that kind of stuff. So I immediately took a picture, sent it to my buddy Keith. I was like, "You want some of this?" He's like, "Where are you?" And yes, and I got him the hand pull in a crowler. Sorry, I dropped that crowler, Keith. So it's dented from me, not them. And then I got him one of these. Curious to see what Keith thinks. I'm also curious to see what my friends think. Like I said, I think I mentioned it tomorrow. I'm actually having a kind of get together of very close friends and family, and for the first time since COVID started, outdoor only, everybody's vaccinated kind of thing. And I'm curious to see what they think. I've actually bought a Schlenkler to drink next to this, so it's going to be a fun little side by side. So yeah, I think this is fantastic. I really enjoyed this brewery. Haven't been there until today, but I will be there, I would say, on the reg, because it's a beautiful drive, and it's not too far. It's close to Conclave, for those playing along at home and know what I'm talking about. So yeah, I dig this place. I dig this beer. I'm happy. Let's talk about it. It was one of the better smoke beers I've had as of late, especially in the lower ABV realm. If we stick strictly to that, yes, Mount Rushmore status. If we stick to open it up to all smoke, it's up there. It's not Mount Rushmore status, but it's worthy. It's just very delicious, very fun, well-made beer. Value and availability on this, $13. Their whole thing is pretty much $13 a crowler, unless it's like something a little bit bigger of a beer, then they bump it up to a scary amount of $14. Brewery only, very small brewery, not big, but they had, I want to say they had like 12 to 15 beers on draft, so they're brewing. You know what I mean? They're only open right now as of this video. When it was posted, they're only open 3 days a week. To go on Thursday, Friday, Saturday, in-house. You can drink and get to go. And leave you with, if you like, well, we like this beer. If you like session smoke, if you like well-made beers, if you like beers from breweries trying to do good things, you know how I roll. You know the beers that I like, and I like it all. It's not so much that I'm just, I just want these kind of little old school kind of very kind of romantic jammers. I love them. But these are the breweries that need to exist. They're the breweries that need to not shut down. Not that any brewery needs to shut down, but, when you walk into a place and they have a smoked Helles and they have an ESB and they have, a cask on hand pull and they're good. That's very big portion of the show, and they're good. They're meant to be cherished, and they're meant to be nurtured, because these beers need to exist in this world, and I'm glad they do. There you go. Massive beer review in the books. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. If you've had this beer or anything from these guys, down there, if you want to talk about it, put it down there. Let me know. Value and availability. Oh, I don't know why I'm doing that. Value and availability after that. So, for those who have noticed, I've started saying, if you've had this beer before, because I've always meant to say that when I get to the kind of let's talk about it thing, but I never have. So I'm forcing myself to say it, consciously making an effort. And for some weird reason, when I force myself to say, have you had this beer before, let's talk about it, I immediately roll back my memory banks to value and availability. I don't know why that happens. I need to talk to a psychiatrist about this. Anyway, yeah, Massive Beers if you want to check me out doing the social media stuff. Beer Massive if you want to see me doing the podcasting thing, and hopefully you guys enjoyed the review. Hopefully you're enjoying a little bit of, Oddbird. I forgot the name of the brewery for a second. Jesus. Hopefully see you next time. Cheers.